I work for Katiba Institute. Katiba Institute in brief deals with promoting the implementation of the Constitution and constitutionalism generally in Kenya. Diakonia has the big project called Democracy and Human Rights Program. Katiba Institute does mostly where its strengths lie. And so in the program, we're doing a lot of litigation, we're doing a lot of research. And as I said, most of the research is leading to publications, but we're also doing some training. One of the problems we've had is about the two-third gender principle. And we've been exploring ways of making sure that that principle is implemented. And Katiba Institute thought of also making sure that political parties also begin the process of making sure that that principle is implemented. And so we went to court and asked the court to also require political parties to adhere to the principle. Fortunately, the court agreed with us, and on 20th April 2017, the court said that yes, political parties are public entities. They receive funds from the public kitty, and so they are obliged under the Constitution to adhere to that principle. Kenyans have been complaining that they elect their representatives, they go to parliament or they go to the county assembly, and once they're in office, they never see them until after 5 years. And the Constitution had provided a solution to that problem. But by Parliament enacting a legislation that made it impossible for Kenyans to utilize that right in the Constitution, it means that that right had been denied through the back door. And so we went to court, and the court again agreed with us that several of those grounds and procedures, they're unconstitutional on the basis that they make it very difficult, or actually almost impossible, to recall a representative. And so Parliament is required to revise those grounds and procedures. We did 2 trainings. The trainings were focusing on access to justice for indigent populations. That was the objective. We decided to focus on 2 areas. The first was to train judges, and we trained judges in the Employment and Labor Relations Court. We had a training in Naivasha in September 2015. The objective was to train them on the values and principles of governance in the Constitution at Court 10, and to try ensure that whenever they're making their judgments, especially relating to labor disputes or any other kind of disputes that they relate with that concern indigent population, they always adhere to the values and principles of governance. We had a training with advocates in June 2017 because largely whatever judges decide depends on what the advocates present. On research, we were initially focusing on 2 things. First was to lobby members of parliament in partnership with several other civil society organizations to pass an Access to Information Act that was from 2015. So after several lobbying, several meetings with members of parliament, after several submissions before the parliamentary and the Senate, the National Assembly and the Senate Committee on Information, we got it passed in sometime mid-2016, and finally was assented to by the President in should be 30th of August 2016. After getting the Act passed, we decided to develop a handbook so that people are able to understand what is in the Act, what is actually access to information, and what they need to do in case they needed to request for information. So that handbook is now complete, and it will be out soon. We've made at least 10 access to information requests. One of that was directed at the Presidential Delivery Unit, because as you know, there were so many complaints about the source of money that was used to advertise the government. It was called Government of Kenya Delivers before the 8th August presidential elections. And so before the elections, we made an access information request to the Presidential Delivery Unit, asking them to give us a number of things, including how much was spent in the advertisements and the source of the money. And the law requires that we should get a response within 21 days. 21 days passed and there was no response. So we decided to take the matter to court. So the court agreed with us that that is information that should be disclosed, and asked the Presidential Delivery Unit to disclose that information to us. As we're speaking now, they have not disclosed that information. We're hoping that they're going to do so and comply with the court order. But then that also highlights some of the challenges that are involved in this. Most challenges that I see in this work has to do with making sure that whatever has been achieved is actually implemented and that it benefits the people that it's supposed to benefit. If Kenyans can begin developing a good culture that can raise their children as good people, honest people with integrity, people that they can go to school, grow with those values, so that it's a continuous process. It's not going to be very easy to expect that change will just occur at the top or at the public offices. It starts to begin from shaping our culture, in my view, and it's difficult for people to develop to respect the law if they don't have all those good values.